got a new intro. What's the new intro, mate, Mark?
Is that what you were just singing?
No, I mean like we've now got this silence thing we have to do. We used to just do the clap.
Oh, yeah. You got to...
We used to do the clap. You might have.
Just to get the sound of the room.
Now we do the clap and we do the...
5 seconds of silence.
Yeah.
Because he's got a machine that EQs the room.
I love that. So welcome back, folks. Wisdom on Tap. My co-guest, Mr. Mark Ellis, internationally renowned superstar. What?
Legends in his own living room. Yeah.
Is that an in-joke? Is that a Donny thing? Legend.
Oh, legend. On a totally different note, I'm convinced that the wall behind you is changing colour and it's bothering me.
Wow, I'm glad you're paying a lot of attention to me when I talk.
It might be the lighting, I don't know.
Am I that boring?
No.
I swear that wall's changing colour behind him.
I like your T-shirt.
Oh, that's nice. I found this in my boot.
In your boot?
Well, you know...
You mean you bought it and forgot you had it? I do that all the time.
Yeah, and then I put it in a backpack, which I kept in my boot and didn't take out.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I better take that backpack out, like literally 2 years later and go...
It's ace when that happens, isn't it?
Wow, it's a nice T-shirt.
It's like when you find 20 quid in an old suit that you wore at a wedding years ago and then you... Yeah? Not happened to you?
No, not happened to me, but...
That's happened to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you find money that you forgot you had, that's always a good thing.
Yeah. It's like free money.
Or T-shirts.
Yeah. What's your favourite thing you found that you never had, that you didn't have before?
Ooh, that's a great question, that. My partner, Lisa. I had to say that. Yeah.
You didn't have to say anything. Do you want to talk about that?
Do you know what?
Is she controlling you?
No, yeah. Please help. Help me. I did a recording session. It was at Supernova, this recording studio that we know, and Jace, the owner, we know him. I've done some rehearsals there. Anyway, I went to do some demos or something, and it was the first time I was there, and we were in his control room. This is about 7 or 8 years ago now, and probably to set this up. So the holy grail for all saxophone players is your mouthpiece, right? So your mouthpiece is the first bit that obviously connects you to the saxophone, and what makes the sound is the saxophone, the reed, the mouthpiece, and you. And your tone is a amalgamation of those 4 elements, if you like, okay? And your breath, right? So 5 things. So the mouthpiece is really important to most sax players, and a lot of us have this kind of like quest for the holy grail of finding the perfect mouthpiece, which doesn't exist, right? It's hence why we call it the holy grail, because you never find it, but we still do it anyway. Yeah. So most of us have got a collection of mouthpieces, but we all preach and we all know deep down that the best thing to do is get a mouthpiece that works and suits you, and then you work on it and you get the tone that you want. But there's this subconscious element, I think, certainly in my head, and I think most sax players have it, where you're going to find this mouthpiece that's going to solve all your problems and give you the tone you want. So that's the background. So I'm in the studio, I've done this session, I'm in the control room, mixing it, and I just look over and I noticed this box, and it was a box that I recognised. It was a mouthpiece, a tenor saxophone mouthpiece called a Barry, which is confusing because Barry usually means Barry sax, but there is a brand of mouthpieces called Barry, B-A-R-I. And I was like, what's that? And he went, oh, it's an old mouthpiece. I was clearing out a friend's studio and it was in there, and he said I could have it. I went, why? I went, oh, I wouldn't mind trying that. He went, you can have it if you want. He let me have this mouthpiece. Wow. And I put it on and it was just amazing. Amazing. I've still got it now.
I like that. I wonder where you were going with it. I thought the story was going to be, and it was mine from when I was a child.
No. Oh, that would be cool.
And then you cried.
That would be cool.
I'm trying to think of something I've refound.
Oh, that's even better. Because if you've lost it and then found it again, that's even better.
Refound my dog once.
What?
We had a dog, a whippet, and it went missing. And 2 days later, somebody said, "I got you a whippet," and brought it back. I mean, there's no big story to that, but that's a nice thing.
I refound a stolen bike.
Yeah.
I had a bike stolen. My sister went to the video store. That's how long this was.
The video store?
Shop.
Wow.
No, it was my dad. My dad borrowed my bike, went to the video shop, put it outside the video shop, went in for a video, came out, bike's gone. 5 years later.
5 years?
5 years later, I'm going down the street. I was near the hospital for some reason, and it was before mobile phones. This girl comes past on this bike. My bike was quite unique looking. It was a Trek, really old Trek. It was weird colours, but I'd modified it a bit. And she comes past. Yeah, she comes past. It had those, like, do you remember those things on the handlebars that you held like that to help you go uphill and all that stuff? And it had a mud guard on the back. Anyway, this bike comes past and it's my bike. So she wasn't going fast. So I went, excuse me, love. And she went, yeah. And I checked it and it was mine. And I put my hand on the handlebars. I went, that's my bike, get off. She went, what? I said, it's my bike, you need to get off it now. She went, it's my boyfriend's. I said, it's
5 years later?
Yeah. I said, it might have been 4 years. It was several years later, right? Anyway, there was a phone box nearby. So I said, look, she wouldn't let me have the bike. And I was like, well, you're not taking it because I've found it. So I basically I walked into the phone box holding the thing, right? Like, got money out of my pocket, put it in the machine, and I called it home. And my dad picked up, and I said, Dad, I can't talk. There's a bit of bother. You need to get to the hospital right now, right? So, and we only live like probably a 1 minute drive from the hospital. So my dad, a minute later, comes screeching up in his Ford Granada. My sister's boyfriend jumps out with him. They're like, what's going on? And there's this poor little lass on this bike, and she was like, well, and she was a bit of a scrote, to be honest. She was like, my boyfriend's going to come out in a minute, and he'll. So anyway, what happened next was this police car came past, and my dad flagged it down. The police got out, and they told him what had happened. And the guy was like, well, we'll have to impound it, and then you can come and pick it up later once we've verified it's yours. So anyway, later that night, I got a phone call from that officer saying, we interviewed the girl, and we went to her house, and there was about 100 bikes in this house, and her boyfriend rang a bike stealing gang.
A push bike stealing gang?
This is a long time ago, you know.
What I thought was going to happen was they were going to go, and that is that girl's bike. Poor girl's just been abducted and mugged. That was my bike, and I was so happy. How old are you? Some bloke, you basically telling a different story. You know, I was riding home once, and this bloke stole a bike off me. Yeah. He pulled me to his dad turned up with his brother-in-law.
Yeah.
And they took this bike off me.
That's a true story. So I was so happy.
Well, I'm glad you never
back.
Made that up.
And then it got nicked again. I never saw it after that.
You know what I'm learning about this? You need to take better care of your shit.
I know. I need to not let my dad borrow my bike, basically.
Oh, your dad?
It's his fault. But yeah, I do need to take better care of my shit. But finding a dog after you think you've lost it, that's awesome.
Well, we didn't find it. It was given back. But there is something wonderful about losing something and then it coming back.
Yeah, it returns.
Your brain loves that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to think now what I've lost that I've never got back.
Oh, loads of shit.
When I was young, I always remember this. I went on holiday with my mum and dad to a caravan, obviously.
Why, obviously?
Because I never went abroad with my parents. Oh. We caravanned it.
Right.
And it was a caravan where we had to connect the telly to the car battery. Do you remember them ones?
Cool.
Do you remember them ones? You know, it had no electric in it.
Brilliant.
Anyway, I bought a gun, but it was a good, from the seaside, them shots.
I thought you meant like a proper gun.
No.
A toy gun.
It's like Doncaster, no?
Right.
Devon. So I bought like a cowboy Indian gun thing and some toy. It was a toy, like bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Remember with the sticky plungery bits on?
Yeah.
And I left it in the caravan. I never got that back. And I always think about that when I go to shops.
I mean, that's what, 30 years ago?
Yeah, it really hurt me. It cut me deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how something like that would make such an impression on you that you still think about it now?
I'm just thinking I lost it and never got it back. I'm also thinking, actually, I used to love driving. Now and again, Mum and Dad would let me, because we had I had older brothers, and they got to a point where they would travel in their own car with us on holiday.
Okay.
So then I was allowed the duvet in the back, and I could just sleep all the way to holiday.
Nice.
Remember the days, mate? I love a caravan holiday.
I don't think I've ever been.
You're posh, ain't you? Because I love a caravan holiday. He's posh, isn't he? I love a caravan holiday. Do you know what I love? The campsite. Mum and Dad going down to bingo. I'd walk in when they were at the bingo table. Shh, shh, don't say shh.
Bingo.
Shh, that's baby, shh. Bingo.
Do you have working men's clubs down where you're from? Is that a thing?
Of course it is. I think they're a thing everywhere.
Really? But was it a big scene in like the...
Well, I used to pick my dad up from Skittles every Friday when I finally learnt to drive. Okay. And he'd play Skittles at the Richmond Club.
Right.
And I'd have to try and get it. Come on, Dad. No, one more. Got one over. Come on, Dad. No, I got one more. Then I used to have to drop everyone home. Good times, though.
Yeah.
Uncle Dave, drop him home. Drop their mate home. Yeah. Get back at 1 in the morning.
What was your first car?
Nissan Micra. 1 wing mirror, 4 gears.
Nice.
My brothers bought me a stereo for my 18th, maybe 21st actually. No, 18th. I wasn't driving. And fitted it and didn't tell me. And you could hear that thing coming because I had no soundproofing. They're like that thin, the doors. Like, you could hear me coming. I'm surprised it like nearly shook the thing apart.
Yeah.
But they come as 1 wing mirror standard, didn't they?
I learnt in a Micra.
What, the bubble one?
Well, it was like a short, stumpy little car.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I had one of them. Old thing. And then I bought a, I think it was 200 quid, that Micra.
Brilliant.
What do you get for 200 quid now?
Not a car.
People don't buy their kids shit cars anymore, do they? It's
No,
like they need a nice car, they need a safe car. When I had a car, it was like just whatever you can get.
Whatever you could get, yeah.
And it was almost the joy of it. It never passed, that thing was all right past MOTs, but, normally they go for MOT and you'd be like, what's going to happen here? Like,
a Cavalier. A Cavalier?
When I first met Bianca, she said, I had a maroon Cavalier. I was a player.
Is that what did it?
Well, no, hang on. What did it was, she goes, so her parents, what's this lad like? Yeah, he's all right.
He's got a Cavalier?
Okay. Cadillac.
Is that what she said? Brilliant.
Maroon Cadillac.
Vauxhall Cadillac.
He's got a Cadillac. And they were like, he's got a Cadillac? She's like, yeah, it's definitely a Cadillac.
Ace.
Then they thought I was going to turn up with a furry jacket and this hat.
A pimp.
A Cadillac. I always remember because they lived in quite a posh area and we were at the pub one night and this woman said, are you the boy that drives that maroon thing? I was like, that is a Cavalier. SR, I'll have you know. It was my brother's Cavalier.
Brilliant.
That's the thing about older brothers, you get given their cars.
Yeah.
Because they were nice older brothers, so they'd like run it, you can have my older car.
Did you have to wear their football boots as well?
Yeah. Now, my one older brother, to be fair, used to buy me my football boots.
Really?
Yeah.
You have got good brothers.
Yeah, they were both good to me, yeah. Yeah, they were in different ways. They still are. But no, I think the Cadillac, that was the one.
Does that still get brought up at family parties and stuff? The Cadillac thing?
Yeah, the Cadillac. What else is there? You've all got these little stories everyone brings up, haven't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Walking through Paris once, she's we're looking for the Eiffel Tower. No word of a lie.
Yeah.
She's like, look at the size of that electric pylon. Like, she's an intelligent girl as well. And I was like, I think that's the Eiffel Tower. It's like, that would be a big... Like, no word of a lie. She's like, oh, yeah. You're like, oh, my God.
Brilliant.
What car did you have? I don't know what we're just talking about cars.
I had to drive my mum's car first.
Everyone does that for a while,
and
don't they?
It was an Austin Metro, a shitty brown one, like
Brilliant.
Brown, just crappy brown, but it was a car. And actually, the day after I passed my test, I got done for speeding and going through a red light. But I didn't mean to do it. I was basically getting up to this light, and it was raining. And in the highway code, it said that when you get to a light, if it goes amber, but you think that you braking would cause an accident behind you, so I thought I'll go through it, thinking I was doing the right thing, and I didn't know there was a copper on a bike, just like hiding out of the way, and he pulled me over and just like threw the book at me, and I was really scared. I remember like thinking, I've never been in trouble before, and he was having a right go at me, and he said, "Why did you do that?" And I said, "Because it says in the highway code, like, not to stop."
Smart ass.
And he just went, "Oh, you're just reading too much into that." So literally a day after I passed, I got my first 3 points.
3 points?
Yeah.
For that?
After, yeah.
I watch, when I go over to see mum and dad, he's always watching some like cop thing.
Yeah.
Kids don't get 3 points for anything now. They get like, you watch some kid, he's like, so he stole a car, he drove it halfway across Britain, he's written it off in a hedge, and he got a £200 fine. And you're like, yeah, really? Like, surely he needs a bit more than that. It's like, £200 fine, mate. He's £200 fine and 3 points.
Have you watched the, what's it called now? That Mars thing I was telling you about? Life on Mars. Do you remember that?
No.
I think it was in like 2007. It's about this guy who's in a coma and he goes back in time whilst he's in a coma. So, and he's a copper, but he's dealing with being a copper in the 70s. So everything's like overdone, like the 70s, and they're all driving Ford Capris. These coppers are like just really like misogynistic, racist, like just proper 70s.
A bit like the 2000s and the 20s.
Well, yeah, it's good actually.
Sorry,
But there's some great cars in there.
Yeah.
I love an old car. I saw an old white Ford Mustang broken down, actually, on the side of the M18 yesterday. Oh, it looked
I love the fact you just keep looking across to Mark. Mark, I did. You love a Mustang, don't you?
I have to look
Producer Mark loves a Mustang. Do you want me to start? I'll tell you what.
I'll get it for validation.
Mark, do you want to come and talk about Mustangs too? I'll sit behind there and do what you do.
I look at it for validation.
Yeah, Mark, it was a Mustang, wasn't it, Mark? Mark's like the Emperor. And it's like, right, get him off. Get someone ace in. I tell you what, I was chatting Mark. I had a chat with a bloke in the cafe.
Who's Mark?
Yes, Mark name.
Who's that?
I don't know. And he, any long story short, he's got the best car collection I have seen because he's got he rocks up a different car all the time. Right, lovely bloke, very down to earth.
Yeah.
Lamborghini.
I'm not into them. I mean,
I'll tell him that.
I wouldn't say no, but
Ferrari.
Yeah.
One of them nice Mercs that looks like a Batmobile. It's really rare. It's about £300,000. I googled that. What's it called? No, I'm trying to think of the other one he's got. A Rolls Royce Phantom, I think.
Wow.
Beautiful cars. I don't know why I'm telling you this, other than the fact that I saw those.
I love old cars.
They're just brand new things. They're lovely.
Oh, really?
Well, not brand new, I don't think. He was telling me about the quickest road car to go around the Nuremberg or something.
Okay.
He obviously loves cars.
Yeah.
But I'm not actually a massive car person.
I just like the way they look. But if I was to get one, I wouldn't know the first thing about how to look after it, do it up, maintain it. For me, everything's about how things look when it comes to stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, I just love how things are visual to the eye.
I kind of think, could I get Milo in there? My dog, guys. Could I get Milo in there?
That's a very practical way of looking at
I'm not very
cars.
good at looking after things. I'm not very good at looking after material things.
Well, you lost your last dog, so Milo's fucked.
I mean, that's my mum, actually. But I'm not very good at looking after material things. I don't know if I just don't value material things much. But I'm not very good, like my car is just like, yeah, my dog's in there. I'm not like, oh, better not get the dog on the lever. I'm just like, I'll just jump in.
I look after my car.
Yeah.
I like it because I spend so much time in it. You know, it's.
I don't think we should have you back, really.
No.
Do you know what I mean? He looks after his car. What did he do earlier?
That's what I'm consistent at looking after my car. By the way,
he's never been on a caravan holiday. Are you from Doncaster, really?
Yeah, but my parents are southern.
Oh, there you go.
That's why.
That's the one.
I don't think I ever did. We used to go abroad a lot
skiing.
Because no, we didn't go skiing.
You're skiing. You went skiing.
My dad had a lot of family members in the army in Germany, so we used to go to Germany all the time.
Nice.
I had some really cool holidays.
I bet, yeah.
I went to Berlin when the wall was still up, and that was really cool.
I thought you said when the war was still up. I'm like, how old are you?
The wall was still up in the 80s. That was cool. I went to America when I was 10 to Disneyland. That was really cool. That was with my dad's band. But
have you ever been to Weymouth when the tall ships are on, though?
No.
You're missing out, mate.
I haven't lived, have I?
No. Weymouth, I went there on when the tall ships, is it the tall ships? The proper like pirate-looking things. They had a thing on. I always remember because my dad was like, there's this great beach. He always meets somebody in the bar.
Right.
My dad. I was chatting to a bloke in the bar.
Oh,
no. Just chatting to a bloke in the bar. And he's like, yeah, there's this great coastal walk or something like that. We're going to go on it. And then you find out you've just walked like down the M50 for like 5 miles. And he was like, there's this great beach we can watch the ships from.
Yeah.
Apparently it's beautiful there. So brilliant. So we get everything together, my older brothers. We used to play cricket on the beach because we used to take my brother's friends. They're older.
Yeah.
So we get all the cricket stuff and that. Fucking Pebble Beach.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Like Brighton.
Yeah, Pebble Beach. That's like, he told me it was sand. He told me it's like, Dad, every time we do something from the bar, it's something like this. But I just my best memories from them holidays.
Have you ever been to Blackpool?
No.
That's very much like that.
Devon, Cornwall, Wales.
Oh.
I tell you what I did do, which was pretty cool. If you're still tuning into this episode, well done. It's like
We've gone off topic a bit.
What's that travel program that people used to go on?
Wish You Were Here.
It's like an episode of Wish You Were Here, this is.
Which one's Judith Chalmers?
You.
Right.
Yeah.
Fine.
So, who am I?
The other one.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, I went to Wales and I watched the dolphins in the bay there.
Cool.
I saw, everyone thinks I make that up. It's like there's dolphins down there, like a pod of dolphins in what's it called? There's a place. Amazing, massive thing. They were swimming around the harbour.
Dolphins are cool.
Talk about things that you lost and then you found.
Yeah. Did you lose a dolphin?
Yeah. So we went out and we said, right, we want to watch the dolphins. They do boats. Yeah. Bloke said, yeah, we've seen them all day. Yada, yada. Brilliant. Went out, did not see a dolphin. Right? Got back in the harbour. Bloke said, I think there's one there. And he sort of pulled away and all of a sudden, boom, they all come through the harbour. Like just jump, and they were all everywhere. And you're like, got me dolphins. Feels good, doesn't it? We call that the magic of maybe, you know.
The magic of maybe?
Yeah. I've got to bring some relevance to personal development in here.
Who calls that?
People.
Oh, I thought it meant your family and your
no,
your brother's mates. Let's coin a phrase while we're here.
That's the magic of maybe.
So expectation, not knowing if you're going to see this thing that you want.
You get like I can't remember the exact numbers, so don't quote me on it, but something like a 300% increase in dopamine when you don't think something's going to happen and then it does. That's why it feels so good.
Wow.
There you go. I can't remember what the number is. It's the magic of maybe. The best analogy is, for me, if you are a golfer and you're really good, you smash it, you get on the tee, you expect to smash it down the fairway.
Yeah.
It feels quite good when you do.
Yeah.
If you're an all right golfer and you're not really sure you're going to smash it down the fairway, then you tonk one and you smash it down the fairway, it feels fucking amazing.
Better than if you were expecting
to. Yeah, it feels better than if you expected to, because it's the magic of maybe. Your brain's like, I'm not really sure it's going to pan out. Well, it's panned out great, maybe. Maybe it's going to, maybe it's not.
Right.
There it is. Loads of dopamine. Live the dream.
Wow. What is dopamine?
Oh, I don't. How do you explain that?
Well, I don't know.
You need a neuroscientist to come on and explain it.
Well, it's all over the, it's all over my Instagram feed,
of course
basically.
It is. People probably telling you to do a dopamine detox. Not that you can detox dopamine. That's impossible. You can like resensitize yourself.
It's a neurotransmitter, isn't it?
Yeah. I suppose people think of it as your chief reward chemical.
Okay.
So you get a little squirt of it as like a reward, but also it's your brain's chief, I think, focus chemical. So what releases a lot of dopamine you'll pay attention to.
Yeah.
It'll drive your focus because it feels good. So they also call it the drive molecule, don't they? Because it's what when you're feeling driven.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dopamine going on, which is I think is it Huberman who talks about this a little bit? Cold showers and stuff, they give you a steadier release of dopamine throughout your day.
Yeah.
Which also stops you looking for it. You know, you think when you're just sat in the kitchen, go to your phone, that's often a little bit of dopamine.
Yeah.
Give me some dopamine. Tiny little squirt.
What we were talking about in the last episode about checking off.
But it makes you better at focusing. So if you're doing like a word search, does anyone do them anymore? And you can't find a word. And then you find one.
Yeah.
You get a little squirt of dopamine.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
But then your brain is primed to recognise more patterns. So you notice you go on a bit of a run sometimes, don't you? Oh, there's one. Because you're getting more dopamine. It makes you better at recognising patterns. You then find one, you get a reward. So it's like, whoa.
Okay.
It's driving my focus.
But can you have too much of it?
I don't know. I'm not the person to ask that question to. But I would say we become less sensitive to dopamine, don't we? Because we're bombarded with it everywhere. Right. Is why I would look at that. And also it's quite easy to come by because immediately on your phone. I suppose one of the sentences that's quite useful is, get your dopamine on the back end, so to speak. So a lot of things that are quite rewarding, you have to dig in a bit, don't you? And then maybe
exercise.
you get the dopamine on the back of it.
Rather than sugar or food or
I suppose we're always it's quite easy to come by because stimulus is everywhere now, isn't it?
Okay.
So it's just there. But it's a big thing on social media because people just jump on the bandwagon and they just copy and paste another person's social media. So they take an Andrew Huberman post, edit it a bit and lob it in there and slide and be like, yeah, you dopamine's terrible kind of thing. But it's like, well, it's just...
It's a thing that we all need,
It's a thing, yeah. But I suppose when you're bombarded with it all the time, you become less sensitive to it. So sometimes, here's a little thing. So say you're doing some work, you're practicing. It's quite mundane, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You do it a lot. Then you have a break.
Yeah.
So you scroll your phone.
Yeah.
Well, that's more exciting for your brain. You get the dopamine.
Yeah.
You come back. That task is now more boring to your brain, isn't it?
Okay.
That task is now less dopamine fulfilling, I suppose, is what you're trying to say.
So are you saying that you shouldn't do that then?
Yeah.
Between when you're trying to learn something or practice something?
Yeah, if I'm doing some work, then I'm like, I need a break because, you've got to step away. The worst thing I can do is go load my brain with dopamine because it makes this less interesting. So I struggle to pay attention to it now. Because it's less interesting to my brain because I've just gone and got some. I've just watched. Like we said in previous episodes, I've just watched somebody like some cat jump out of a window and land, and I've just watched a crocodile like try and eat a flipping rhino or something. You're like, oh my god, And then I was like, oh, hang on, I got to write some posts. So it's less interesting. So I think we do in our stuff. Sometimes we say, hey, get off social media for a week.
Right.
Just to try and recalibrate, I suppose, is the word we would look for. But yeah, if you don't want to use your phone between practice sessions because you're just making your practice less rewarding, really.
Okay. What have you done any... you talked about flow a lot. I know you've studied flow a great deal. Have you learned anything along the way about practice and how to practice? Not necessarily about a musical instrument, but practicing a skill or, Is there anything that works or anything prevents you from practicing well, other than the basics like being tired or?
It's general basics of anything, I think.
Do you know about myelin?
No, go on, tell me.
So, I'm going to get this wrong because I can't remember it properly, but myelin is, I want to say it might be a protein or it's something, and it wraps itself round
keep going,
the myelin sheath.
Yeah.
Every time you do an action, the synapses or the whatever it is in your brain that's working on that, it doesn't know if you've done it right or wrong. It just knows that you've repeated it.
Yeah.
So myelin, what it does is when you repeat an action, myelin wraps around that, whatever it is, neuron.
I know where you're at. But
do you know what I mean? So this is why practicing so slow is so important, because most people, because they want to get better quicker, they're in a rush, right? They practice something quickly and they make a mistake, right? Now, if you make that same mistake twice, your myelin doesn't know if it's right or wrong. It just knows, he's repeated that. Let's wrap ourselves around this part of the brain.
So you're saying, should you practice? You're saying practice slowly.
That's why practicing slow is so important from a kind of like a biological standpoint, because your brain doesn't know if it's right or wrong. So if I'm learning a scale and I do it wrong 2 or 3 times in a row, it's now even harder to unlearn that. Yeah.
It's much like, we'll come back to practicing, but it's much like the brain doesn't differentiate between good or bad, does it? In many ways. Meaning like what you pay attention to, it gives you more of.
Okay. Whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, so I always say to people, it's a bit like your mind's a bit like your social media feed. Like if you start giving attention...
to chocolate.
Well, no, if you start commenting on people's stuff, like, oh, you're a dick, oh, this is rubbish, you're going to get more of it, right?
Yeah. Was that you then?
Yeah, they start bringing up more of that kind of content because it's just saying while you're engaging in it, you must... They don't know what you're saying particularly, but your mind's exactly the same. What you engage in, you see more of.
Energy flows where the mind goes or something like
focus
that?
Flow. Where focus goes, energy flows.
That's it.
Yeah. What it really is, I always think if you understand how social media algorithms work, you're probably going to understand how your mind works.
Right.
The more you give attention to shit, the more shit that your mind presents to you, the more you filter your reality based on those preferences, so to speak. But coming back to learning, I suppose the only thing I think is, hey, if you want to learn well or focus well, it's useful to prime yourself before you do it.
Okay.
Like a bit of movement.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's good, like prime yourself. So it's like, might call it a performance primer, 5 minutes of movement, a little bit of a tiny snack if that's your thing.
Okay.
A little bit, 5 minutes of breathing, get into it.
And how long do you suggest a practice session should be?
Oh, it depends on the quality of the person. How long can you focus for?
I'd say 15 to 20 minutes max.
Yeah, so I always, hey, the quote on my wall is, frustration is the path to progress. I think if you can concentrate to the point of frustration, that's when you can take a step away. 5-10 minutes.
And you
come back to it. But it's literally 5-10 minutes all you need.
Yeah.
Back to it. In any kind of work we do with people teaching focus, entrepreneurs or whatever, business owners, is you want to try and start with 90-minute blocks of focus and then build to possibly, I think, gold standards like 3 hours.
But in short spurts?
Well, it depends on, sometimes like you might sit there and you might go, wow, I've been here like an hour and a half, and you might just take 5 minutes away, come back.
Yeah.
But that 5 minutes is a change of environment. So it's not a phone, it's like walk outside, come back. We walk outside, come back. Basically between takes in the air, walk outside, come back, walk somewhere, grab a drink, back. But not scrolling phones, because that's not going to be useful for you. So I think if you, in focusing something, you just need to, well, I would say, like, go dark, create the space to focus, remove distraction, ward off disruption.
Yeah.
It's massive. Put your phone away, become uncontactable for 30 minutes. Bit of movement, get down to it. Know exactly what you're going to do. How often do you turn up to practice and go, well, what am I going to do? Know what you're going to do. Here's what I'm going to do in this 30 minutes. I'm going to practice this. So you walk in and go, bam.
I had a teacher once who used to say, it's really important to know before you start practicing something what you think the end outcome will be on that, not in 6 months' time, but that day. Like, you need to have an idea of what it is you want to be able to do at the time you finish your practice session. Because if you don't have that, you're going to end up going off in all kinds of directions and doing that new.
You need a clear goal.
Yeah.
And you need expectations. Like, God, if you don't have, I call that a definition of done.
Okay.
Like, what's the definition of done?
Right.
Even if your day, have a definition of done. What's done? When's your work day done? Have a definition of done. And then...
stick to it.
Yeah, that's done. I'm off. I said done a lot there.
Yeah.
Done. But how often do we not have a definition of done? We just got a long list of stuff that needs doing and we just rattle through it all day, all week. It's like, what's your definition of done?
What is your definition of done?
Well, it's different every day, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you have a cut-off point where you just think, right, I'm not going to work now?
Yeah. Usually, because I've got to pick someone up. Right. So I've got to pick a kid up. Yeah. Like a forced boundary. But I think if you do, my day will be mapped. I know exactly what I want to get done. And if it's done, I can finish.
So what if you get it done and you're on a roll and you're like, oh, I could do another hour
here? Yeah, I sometimes do that.
Right.
But I suppose my day is more time blocked in the sense of like, I am here, I know what I've got to do in these times, but also I know that I need to be gone by 5, which creates that nice little window of time where you can't, because otherwise you're going to be late. You can't be late to pick a kid up, can you? So I can't just leave them there for an hour on their own. So it's like, I've got to be there, which is a nice way of actually forcing a bit of focus out of you.
I must admit, since becoming a dad, I'm way more efficient with my time. I remember speaking to a friend of mine who's a musician when my partner was pregnant, and he'd had a couple of kids a few years before me, and he was saying, "Oh, it's going to be great," and I was like, "Oh, I'm just worried about my time and when am I going to get time to practice and stuff like that." And he's like, "Your practice will be better." I was like, "How'd you work that out?" He said, "Because you'll have so little time, especially when the babies, that you will find a block of 15, 20 minutes and you'll make it really count." And he was so right.
They call that challenge to skills ratio. I'll bore you with that, but...
No, talk to me about that.
Well, you've got your challenge level.
Yeah.
And you've got your skill level.
Right.
So if you set a challenge that far outweighs your skills,
yeah,
that gap, overwhelm,
yeah,
procrastination,
yeah,
because it's like, that is so big compared to my skill set.
Yeah.
So the idea of like set massive goals and you'll grow hugely isn't always
doesn't
working. Subsequently, skill level, challenge level.
Yeah.
I'm so skilled, I could do this with my eyes closed. Lack of motivation is that gap. That's the school homework, right? Where you go, I could probably do this in an hour, but I've got all school holidays to do it. So I'm going to leave it.
Yeah.
But what do you do by leaving it? Say it's the challenge. What do you do by leaving it?
You're not practicing.
Yeah, but what do you do to the
skill
challenge?
level goes down. So the challenge
your challenge goes up.
Yeah, yeah.
So if I've got homework to do and I could do it with my eyes closed, and I've got 6 weeks to do it,
right,
easy.
So you're running out of time.
I got 5 weeks, I got 4 weeks, I got 3 weeks, I got 2 weeks, I got an hour before the first day.
Yeah.
That's a challenge.
Yeah.
I can rise to that.
Yeah.
I'm motivated, I'm focused, I'm paying attention. It needs doing. So this challenge to skills balance
It's important.
is important.
Yeah.
And so if you find that kids made your challenge level probably go up a little bit, you're like, man, I've got an hour and I've got a true deadline.
Yeah.
I've got to get this done. And that is why you're able to like focus and be attentive. So if you're trying to set a challenge, you're always trying to set one. The big goal can be huge, but you want to find a challenge.
The daily goal needs to be just outside.
That stretches you, that doesn't snap you.
Yeah. Just outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is what you call challenge to skills ratio
Right.
in a simplistic nutshell.
Okay.
And so you're right. When I've got this like firm thing, that's worked the opposite to me though, because it's made sometimes the day really challenging. Oh my God, I got till 5. Do you know what I mean? So you feel a bit overwhelmed by your day because I've got to be done by 5. But you're trying to always navigate that, because if your challenge is too big compared to your skills, that is anxiety, that's overwhelm.
Yeah.
And so it's trying to skillfully navigate that. And that's how focus works. If you can, I always use an example of like tennis. I don't know why, but it's easy. But if you were to play tennis, I think I've shared this here before, like against Rafa Nadal and he played properly, you'd never get any better. You wouldn't return the ball. He's zipping it by you. What is it, 100 mile an hour?
Yeah.
And you've never played, you're like flipping, just throwing your racket around. Like, I can't hit the ball back. How are you going to get better?
Yeah.
Similarly, if you're Rafa Nadal playing against you, how are you going to get any better?
Yeah.
He's like, no, and it's the ball back.
Yeah.
But if you play somebody who's good, but a little bit better than you, and you can hit the ball back and it's competitive, you both get better. Because you're getting a lot of game time, right? Your goals should be like that. Your habits should be like that. They should stretch you enough that they engage you.
But not
so much
that
that they overwhelm you. But not so little that, what's the point?
you can't be bothered,
Yeah, that's the skill to setting appropriate challenges.
I think, I mean, you'll know better than me because it's your business.
Maybe not.
But I would say that certainly in my line of work, music, is probably the biggest factor in why people don't do what they said they're going to do, or it's that overwhelm. So for music, there's so much you could learn. It's literally infinite. So once you know something's infinite, you're like, well, where the fuck do I start then? And it's the best players are the ones that they're not more talented or naturally gifted. They've got the mindset to do exactly what you just break it down and just commit to being slightly better today than I was yesterday.
I know that
not doing everything at once.
Yeah, and I think I've written about this a lot lately. It's like if you have too high expectations and too little patience, you're knackered.
Yeah.
It's good to have high expectations, but not unreasonable ones.
Yeah.
If I said to you, well, I want to be able to play flipping Claire de Lune by the end of this week, you're like, you never played the piano before. So yeah, that's what I want. That's probably going to be quite a stretch and out of my, I'm not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So why, and then I'm setting myself up for failure.
Yeah.
And then I've got no patience. Like, wow. So that's where it's important. You talk about learning, it's important definition of done. Because I want to be amazing at this. It's like, okay, what can I do in an hour?
Yeah.
Set a reasonably stretch that's going to drive your focus. But things that stretch you, drive your focus. Engaging conversations keep you focused. Boring conversations, you're wondering what colour is of the wall. You know what I mean? But like too challenging, you get scattered and stressed by it. So it's like, It's finding that sweet spot all the time. Mm. You could take that and apply it to anything.
Yeah. Do you think that's what causes procrastination then, mostly? Is not doing that?
Not having a plan. Is it procrastination or is it resistance?
Overwhelm, yeah.
Sometimes it's resistance. You just don't, you're resisting doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you term it differently, but resistance is lack of clarity often.
Yeah, that's what Stephen Pressfield calls it, isn't it?
Yeah, what you're going to do, like knowing what you're going to do when you're going to do it. Yeah. You got to have a plan, and that plan's got to be doable. Yeah. Like we just spoke about. A lot of procrastination is setting too big targets, too little targets. Yeah. There's skill to it. It's not just a case of set a massive goal. Like I think unless you work with a lot of people, like we work with loads of people, that's where that's where skill comes in, isn't it? It's like, that person needs stretching, that person's trying to do too much. It's not just a case of set big goals and be held accountable. Because too much accountability. So say you're not doing your thing. Yeah. Me just going, come on, and like, just do it, come on. Post that you've done it, and then if you don't post that you've done it, I'll follow you up. It's like, after a while, if you put that much pressure on an individual who's quite overwhelmed, it just snaps them. Yeah. It works with a minority of people. It's got to be more skillful than that, surely.
No, totally right.
Some people need to respond well to that because it's a bit of a stretch for them. Some people's like, mate, that's not helping me. If my little boy was struggling to do something, would I just like make him accountable to it?
Feel bad about it. Yeah.
Or would I like try and find other ways to stimulate that behaviour? As you can tell, I've got nothing wrong with accountability because it's important. Yeah. But it doesn't make up for a lack of skillful approach. Yeah. That's my problem with it.
Interesting.
If you gave me Claire de Lune to play, I never played the piano, would just making sure I'd done something by that, would that help me and not show me anything? Or would you say, oh my God, I better break this down, or I better show him how to play that first part, or teach him how to practice? For God, bloody hell, maybe that'll help him. Like, you'd be doing all that, wouldn't you? You wouldn't be just going, have you done it? What, have you committed on Facebook to everyone that you're going to do it? Yeah. Have you told you who you're letting down today by not playing that? I'd be like, oh, I just don't know how to play it. I can't figure it out. You don't want it enough, Simon. Come on.
You haven't got big enough why.
Where's your why? You said it was important to you. It is, but I just can't. Come on. Yeah. Applying pressure to something doesn't always, but there's some people who need pressure because they're ready for pressure. So it's a game. It's a dance. So I think, when I've not been called out, but digged at a little bit, like, oh, lack of accountability. He doesn't like accountability. It's like, oh, I love accountability. Done well. Yeah. Done well. Not as a means to make up for poor
skill set.
Yeah.
Do you ever come across people that love setting goals and just making lists and like, is that a thing?
Yeah. Of course it is. It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah. You get a buzz out of it, don't you? Yeah. 1st of Jan, all these things I'm going to do.
The vision board crew, quite good at it. It's enjoyable. There's nothing wrong with that. I encourage people, like, if you love doing it, do it. But, maybe you've got to find a way to take some action as well. I think, again, that's big now. It's like vision your future. Like I always keep saying to people, it's like, well, if you keep imagining your future in the future, it's going to stay there. Yeah. I know that sounds a bit weird, but it's like, if you're always visualizing your future, this is my future in 5 years, it's always going to stay in your future. You've got to find ways to
get it into today.
Yeah. Bring that vision into today. I think that's true, what we'd call reality hacking in a way.
Okay.
So I want that in my future. Where can I start to notice elements of that future today?
By doing the thing.
Rather than always pushing it onto us out in the future.
Yeah.
How can you pull it in? How can you start noticing that you are in fact a professional musician?
Yeah.
Do you ever get that? I've had this real thing lately. I've looked around my life and I thought, it's all right, this. A lot of the things I've always wanted are sat here right now. They're just here. They didn't exist, now they do.
Like what?
Just my lifestyle.
Right.
The fact I have freedom to do what I do. The fact that I used to dream of being able to coach people. That was a dream of mine. I want to coach just 5 people.
Why?
I don't know.
Makes you feel good.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoyed it, and I thought I would enjoy it.
That's all it
and
needs.
I wanted to use my skills, and I just felt pulled towards that to take my passion and thought I can probably help people with this. And also, I wanted to make a living, a good living. And I knew I could. But sometimes you forget. You look around, you forget, like, oh, yeah, it's, a lot of it's here. And I know people say, well, if you do that, you won't be motivated. But that's not true. I felt more motivated by looking around and going,
yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
God, this is...
Well, that's why gratitude works, doesn't it? Because you realise, even though you might be beating yourself up because you didn't do the thing you said you were going to do, some things are working because you've got all this good shit going on right now. And that's from the old you. So, something worked.
Yeah. I think you can constantly be... if you can have an anticipation of the arrival of the things you want and an appreciation of the things you have, I think that's a nice place to be.
Yeah.
If you get too caught up in the need of what you haven't got at the expense of not noticing what you have, that's a horrible place to be.
Well, it's just lack everywhere, isn't it? That's shit.
And at the same time, if we just appreciate what we got with no anticipation of what might be to come, that soon wears off. It's because we all love to evolve and life changes. Because I think, like we said in the previous one, we change. So I think it's important to keep an eye on, people say in business, keep an eye on the market. Keep an eye on the marketplace. It's changing. It's always changing. It's like, well, so's your life. Maybe you should keep an eye on your future. So I think for me, I suppose I have looked around a lot lately and gone, I haven't looked around for a while. I've been looking over there, or I haven't looked around.
And now you have.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I think possibly my wife probably prompted me to do that.
It's funny, isn't it, how our partners seem to know what's best for us, even when we don't agree with them at the time.
Yeah.
Funny like that, aren't they?
Yeah. Very easy to take your eye off the ball, though.
Yeah.
Because, you see everyone doing loads of things. It's very easy to get caught up. Maybe I should be doing that. Maybe I should do that. And I would finish, I know, because we're trying to keep these episodes short. It's 20 to 9. So
Shit.
On an evening. But I wrote about this because I read this in Keith Richards' book. And he said there's this period of time where he felt Mick Jagger forgot how good he was.
Mick Jagger forgot how good Mick Jagger was?
Yeah. Looking around at other people, Bowie and all that, and kind of like, oh, they're great, and what are they doing?
Self-doubt.
He's like, hang on, you're Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
He felt he forgot. And I think we all do that. We look around at everyone else, and we forget what we've got, or we forget how good we are. I've certainly been guilty of that. I'm looking around what they're doing, I'm forgetting like what I'm about, and what makes me tick, and what makes me unique, and how good I am at what I do. Well, we can often forget that.
And also, you're the best at being you, because no one else could do it.
And to somebody, you are the best saxophone player they've ever heard.
Possibly.
People say, who's the best? Who's the best saxophone player? Who's the best football player?
Yeah,
it's preference.
It's not
I'll give you an example.
You can't.
Right. A lady come into our 5-day and she said, I've just done Tony Robbins' free 5-day.
Yeah.
That was crap compared to this.
Right.
So am I now better than Tony Robbins? No. But to her, that experience was better than that.
Yeah.
And who am I to argue with that?
Yeah.
Who am I to say, oh God, you must be...
Yeah.
Like, to some people, Ronaldo's the best player since sliced bread. Some people Messi. It depends what you prefer and the style of player.
Yeah.
Who's better? Paul Scholes, Frank Lampard, Steve Gerrard. Yeah. They're all amazing, aren't they?
We'd both give our left leg to be one of them.
Right? But if you like a certain type of box-to-boxer, maybe Steven Gerrard. But then Frank Lampard got a lot of goals.
It's funny how...
Scholes, different kind of player.
Why do we even have that conversation?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it exists in all fields, doesn't it? Who's the best chef? Who's the best footballer? Who's the best artist?
It exists in Top Gun.
Yeah.
You're all looking around wondering who's the best.
Who was the best? Why do we feel the need to have a best? Like, it's funny, isn't it?
Well, I remember having this moment at an event, and I realised for a lot of my life, I've been trying to be better than other people.
Right.
And that is you never win that game.
Okay.
At the expense of just trying to do my best.
Yeah. Yeah. Two totally different concepts.
Yeah. So I can look around my industry and say, well, am I better than them or am I better than her? Mm. It's like, well, to somebody I am, but we're all different and we're all doing different things. Mm. There's no best, really.
No.
There's best for a certain individual. You make loads of sense size. Someone else may go, he's full of shit, and you need to smash yourself and be accountable. That works for me. Great, go find somebody who does that. Yeah. That's not what we're about. Mm. But somebody's going, oh my God, that makes so much sense. I tried that. That was crap. Mm. So I think there's no best, is there, really?
No, there isn't, but we are obsessed with it in all areas of human life for some reason.
Yeah, who's got the best business?
Yeah.
Who's the best band in the world?
Yeah.
Who's the best band ever?
I don't know. Most people would say the Beatles or Oasis.
Oasis? Really?
Yeah, I think a lot of people think Oasis.
I love the Stones, and I also didn't realise how much I like Led Zeppelin.
Really?
And the Doors.
For me, the best band in the world is Jamiroquai, which is completely different from those that you just mentioned.
The Doors.
The Doors.
I like the Doors. And also the Velvet Underground.
Wow.
Big into the Velvet Underground. I feel like I just put the music on, sit in me patio and just like probably should have a beer and get stoned at that point.
We've got totally different styles of music, but again, there is no best.
Yeah, but mine's better than yours. You know how to do it.
But is it the best? Is it the best?
Yeah. Right, let's wrap it up.
Hang on, is this the best podcast? Podcast. Is this the best podcast
I've enjoyed having you on, mate.
I think
I love talking to you.
Your podcast is the best podcast.
In the world?
In this room.
But I'm not number one.
Are you not?
No.
Who is number one?
Oh, some prick, I spit.
How do you rate? Is it how many listeners I've got or
downloads?
Followers?
It was number one in my niche.
Or is it niche?
So in the mental health niche, which we're in, I think number one is like Jay Shetty's On Purpose.
Okay. Huberman?
Huberman's up there, but he's having a hard time at the minute, isn't he? Because he's been they had a big pylon on him, didn't they? It turned out he was shagging everyone. Apparently you're not allowed to do that.
Right. Well, not everyone. That is a bit greedy.
He wasn't shagging me, to be fair.
I don't think he shagged me either.
I did say to him, if you come on, it's a possibility. Yeah. But he wasn't interested, was he?
Probably because you knew you wouldn't shag him.
Well, so sometimes you've got to sacrifice certain elements to get to where you want to go.
Is that true, what you've just said about... I saw something the other day about...
Am I allowed to say that on a podcast? Yeah. But it was pretty much public news. There was just a big...
Russell Brand was saying that everyone's going after Huberman.
They were.
I didn't watch.
They were going after him because apparently, what they're saying online is, and I do, I'm sure this may or not be true. Do we have to say shit like that now? But...
Allegedly.
Allegedly, he was just, seeing lots of women at the same time, not telling them.
Turns out it was a bit of a hit piece.
A what?
A hit piece.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
What's a hit piece?
Where the establishment tried to quieten your voice by...
What's he saying?
Yeah.
You should get up. What's good is to get up in the morning and get sunlight in your eyes in the first 10 minutes. Like, what's he saying that people need to quiet?
I think it's great.
Fucking making all these people healthy.
I know.
A lot of people have, it's funny how one thing leads to other things, because then all of a sudden people are like, actually, some of his science is debatable. A lot of good people that I follow have gone, yeah, a lot of his science is shit, actually.
Really?
Yeah. You're like, oh God. And it's like that one chink and people come after it. It's humanity. I don't like it. Yeah. I'm each to their own.
He did one recently, it was brilliant, about there's this part of the brain, he gave it a name, and they realised that when you do something that's difficult, uncomfortable, this part of the brain grows. So like cold showers or fasting or whatever. And when you stop doing that thing, or you start doing things that are comfortable, like eating shit or doing drugs or whatever, it gets smaller. So they reckon that this part of the brain is actually your will to live.
Why?
It's nuts, isn't it? I forget what he gave it a name now, but it's like a new thing they've just discovered where it grows as you test yourself to be uncomfortable.
Right. Well, my favourite person, really, I like Huberman, but I find him a little bit too clinical for me.
Yeah, he just speaks straight to camera, doesn't he?
He's very much like in the research says and the data, and I get all that. It's amazing. So everyone loves Huberman.
Yeah, he's ace.
I love Sadhguru.
Oh, yeah.
I just do. I just love the fact he does not take himself seriously at all. I think in a world of people who take themselves too seriously, he is so jovial and so brilliant in his delivery.
So wise, isn't he?
And so playful with it. And the one conversation I love is him and David Eagleman. David Eagleman's a real top neuroscientist.
Okay.
And they both are going back and forth. And they're both curious.
About each other's approach.
Yeah, and Eagleman's obviously science, so he can say, yep, I agree with that. Well, I'm not so sure about that. And Sadhguru will be like, well, but what? Let me tell you something. Let me ask you something,
Is he Welsh?
Yeah, he is, yeah. I don't know if you know that. He comes from... But it's brilliant. I could listen to Sadhguru all day. I did his course, Inner Engineering. It's good.
That's the book, right?
Yeah, he's got a course on it. It's good.
Really?
Yeah. It's good. Really interesting because it's just basic stuff, but...
What I find nuts about him is how he basically walked up a hill at the back of his house and had this amazing, feeling that he was connected to everything. And it lasted several hours and he woke up and then he was Sadhguru. Physically, what's happened there? Has he had a stroke?
He's had a stroke recently, has he not? I don't know what happens there. I'm not going to get into that because I
want that to happen to me.
You mean our conversation today hasn't given you that?
Nearly.
Did you not feel connected to all of the things in life?
I'm definitely connected to that T-shirt. But no.
He gets you to sit under a tree or something. We've been an hour, 55 minutes, but it gets you to sit under a tree.
Really?
Yeah, connect to all nature. And I think you can't.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I love his stuff. And he delivers it in such a way that it's funny as well.
Yeah, he's humorous.
Yeah.
You could listen to him for an hour
He's
and a
like
half.
a funny Yoda.
Everyone will say I'm a big fan of science because I can talk about flow. But a lot of people don't hear that. I think there's different languages. Like there's the scientific, there's the philosophical, there's the spiritual style of languages. Yeah. And sometimes you just need that person to come in like him. And he's not going to say, well, there's a part of your brain that when you access this, the T3 molecule comes in. People are like, what? But there's people who need that.
Right.
They hear that and go, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But there's some people who listen to him and he says it in such a way where you just go...
Yeah. He uses an analogy or a story. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to listen to all styles of people as well. I can't get down with Russell Brand. No offense, Russell. I realise he's very articulate and very passionate. And,
really?
But there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying he's bad. He's probably saying amazing things. But you find who you relate to, don't you? So sometimes I don't relate to him personally, but I relate. I don't know. I hear Sadhguru and go, wow. Or I hear John Berardi and go, God, it makes so much sense to me. Or I hear Stephen Cutler and go, oh, brilliant. But there's some people I go, great, but not for me. But there's other people going, wow, look at them. And you're like, they're great, aren't they?
Ricky Gervais is like that. I love Ricky Gervais, but I know a lot of people just don't get him.
No, exactly.
Don't like it.
But again, it comes back to, is he good then or bad? Or is he not? Is he not funny or is he funny? It's like, well, he's funny to me. No, he's not funny. No, he is funny to me.
Yeah.
That's my experience. He's funny. So yeah, I think it's what it all comes down to. Anyway, it's been an absolute blast.
Yes, mate.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you for giving me your time.
Thank you
for being a co-hostess with the mostess.
I've learnt a lot.
Have you?
Yeah,
I've learned a lot too.
I like chatting to you.
Do you know one thing I learned really was how many factors are at play and how a saxophone sounds?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about that, but we moved on.
We'll do it another time.
When I come on yours.
It's a bit like your voice. Your tone is shaped by the shape of your skull and the way that your teeth and your mouth is shaped, which is why everyone sounds different, no matter what you play.
I'm going to listen to a saxophone now and go, does that sound different to somebody else?
Yeah, I mean, you have to listen to a lot of sax players to really get that.
Because it just sounds like a sax to me.
Yeah, but if you listen to lots of saxophone players over a long period of time, like me, you'd start to recognise that they do have a slightly different tone.
Could somebody recognise you?
Maybe not me, but a famous player. You could put, if it was one of the top players ever, I'd be able to tell you who it was within about 10 seconds, probably less.
Why?
Why?
I said, wow.
But that's just because I've heard their voice.
Yeah.
So often.
Mate, I love it. Right, I'm out of here. Thank you very much, folks.
Right. See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.